This is Ranger Kidwell-Ross, editor at worldsweeper.com. And I'm talking today with Antti Nikkanen, who is the CEO of Trombia Technologies, and they are the inventor of the world's first electric, autonomous, and really essentially water-free sweeping technology that's coming out of Finland. And you can see a picture on your screen of what that machine looks like, so we can get started and you know what you're talking about. And here are the people you'll be talking to. So from America, good morning, Antti, and from Finland, it's probably after dinner, as I recall.
Well, it's 7 p.m. Good evening, America.
There we go. So this is just a very exciting technology. It was a very interesting and exciting technology when I first saw your unit, I believe at the APWA show in America. It hooked onto a what you call a wheel loader, or some other power source. And where you've gone from here is truly astonishing and amazing. And so if you would tell our World Sweeper audience, what that journey has been like.
Yeah, well, I guess we could get back to the roots of the story a little bit, because Nordic Europe is known for using a lot of gritting sand, and basically our cities are struggling a lot more with the spring cleaning duties than actually the North American municipalities have. So that's the roots, and where we started with was in 2013 already, when the city of Helsinki, our capital, actually came up to us and said that they can't afford a sweeper truck to every single street corner because they are slow and expensive. Basically, that was the ultimate story behind there. And we've always been a hydraulic attachment manufacturer. So we are the technology leader and market leader in some of the Nordic European countries in snow equipment and sweeper collecting attachments. So they came to us and wanted us to look at options to deliver the sweeping performance that a high power suction sweeper would do. We talk about the Europe. Back then, we were talking more about the European manufacturers brands, and such as Bucher and Bucher Municipal and Johnston and so on. And the cities really wanted to find a more cost-effective solution for sweeping the streets, and of course attachment would be much cheaper, but the problem was obviously the power intake that you can get from a wheel loader. So that's where we kind of think that we had the right platform to build on, because we only had those two hydraulic hoses coming from the wheel loader, and we had to deliver the performance that the best of the suction sweepers in Europe would deliver. And that's the background of the whole story of our Trombia technology, because basically we first for 2 years we tried to do it. We tried to build a suction power that would do the job, but you don't do that with hydraulic hoses only. So you would have had to go like if the suction sweepers nowadays for full performance can go like 1 to 2 miles per hour maximum for the perfect result. With the hydraulic power, we would have had to go like 10 meters an hour roughly. So basically we had to think something else, and that's where we kept trying and looking at the options, and then came up with something that is quite unique. Obviously, we got the global wide patents earlier this year, all settled and in the books. So now it was more a better of time of also to launch something. But we came up with the method of combining the best parts of the mechanical broom attachments, best parts of probably some of the ideas of the regenerative air sweepers, and then what I already hinted to you that with my press release that that's best parts of the Dyson. So so that was the idea, and we started to look at what can we do there, and yeah. Then in 2017 we rolled out the Trombia sweeper attachment first, and obviously we back then we knew the device itself was great because it's been selling very well in Europe, and before the corona we had a very good swing going on in North America. Now it's a little bit you know in the hold that when we can come back and start pushing forward there, but our dealers are doing great job over there in North America at the moment, delivering all the time units. So now it was then 2017 when our only challenge was to prove that this technology actually is comparable to any of the high level suction sweepers. So we had to take the Trombia sweeper attachment to the PM 2.5 tests in Germany. And that's where we kind of figured out that now we've got something. And frankly, all these exhibitions in the North America where people came to us and asked that, is it a Roomba? Is it an autonomous street sweeper directly? All these days we said that no, it's a wheel loader attachment, but we knew what's going to come in as soon as we can. Basically, we knew that it's going to be IFAT 2020 exhibition. That would be the launch day. So we all know what happened then, and during the last year we basically been working towards IFAT 2020, and now we had to reinvent how to launch it, and we brought the machine to the main square of our capital. We can't travel either. It's the same everywhere, so we can't travel any bigger city than that. But we went directly to the heart of our capital in front of the Parliament House and had a launch event there, and then of course recorded the online launch for the international audience. And since that, I've been basically having sessions like this.
Well, it's a very impressive online launch. You've clearly, I think when people see the quality of your online launch, it really speaks to their expectation of the quality of the sweeper. So talk about what the sweeper can do. I know, you know, it's just such a hard concept because you're the first to think about the autonomous part of this. You say it can operate all by itself, 95% less water. So essentially you're not using water for dust control, and that is huge. If I was better prepared, I'd have the number of gallons that I computed at one point of water that is used by the American sweeping industry every year. But we talked about this enormous amount of perfectly good drinking water that is fouled and trundled, dripping with PM10s to the dump and pollutants, and then dumped away. So to change that is huge. So it's autonomous, but yet you can see in your launch someone with an iPad or a tablet directing multiple sweepers too. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, autonomous wise, it's actually quite exciting because Finland, our home country, is becoming a real powerhouse when it comes to autonomous machine vision technologies, and we are basically when we were looking at this project, we wanted to find really the kind of the best of the best that would work in no matter where you go, you know, whether it's a rainy or snowy or dust cloudy weather where you go to do the sweeping, which is in real life the sweeping operators have to do that. So they have to actually, no matter what it is, they have to go in. And so we have an exclusive partnership now in sweeping industry with a company from Finland who is really good at really the all-weather part of the autonomous vision. That's one great thing about it. But the other thing is that the autonomous wise, we know that you will not be seeing that one going around the streets, even here in Europe or in any of the main capitals. You won't see it happening that you will just let it go. Unfortunately yet. We would be ready for it, but the legislation is not ready. We know that. And we know that business-wise, we need to think otherwise as well. the way we see Trombia 3 being used now during the already next year everywhere, and also during the past year in our early pilots, is that there is going to always be someone as a kind of a operator for the one unit or 2 or 3 units at a time, and they will be running and monitoring the unit itself from the tablet, and they will be looking at, okay, now Trombia 3 number 1 is doing its job in the market square, and the other one is doing its job at in the bicycle tunnel, and then they will be basically just looking at that everything goes well. The devices themselves can be, we actually made quite a nice instructional video just because we know that people have so much questions about how does it actually work. So that's why we included that how to run a Trombia 3 directly, because we wanted people to understand that, yeah, you don't just, park it in the garage and it goes whenever it wants to the streets. No, you kind of, you teach it first. You teach it through a tablet software, or you teach it by walking or driving with the radio control with the unit itself. But after that, let's, the machine has the memory, so it will remember that how you do that certain task that you have been trained to do. So that's one very powerful feature of what the machine vision can do. And at that moment, this device is basically level 5 autonomous. So it will be.
Let me break in to say that for those in the North American marketplace that may not understand the autonomous levels, level 5 is the highest level of autonomy. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. So there would be that you need to interrupt and intercept with the radio control would be a level 3 or to level 4. But then now we can basically, once the machine has been trained to do a certain task, that task they can do the way they want. So and that will work and very safely, actually. Honestly speaking, a lot of the time safer than a man with a wheel loader and a sweeper attachment.
That's right.
Honestly speaking, but
who didn't get enough sleep last night and got in a fight with his wife besides. So.
yeah. But that's that's what it is.
And eventually, of course, the world will be autonomous vehicles, and that's where it will head. But this is pretty impressive. One thing that I had to think about, if it's out there being autonomous, are there cameras also, or a camera that if somebody comes up and spray paints it, you have an idea of who did it? That's got to be a concern.
Yeah, and then I think the only correct answer from our side right now to that question is that on Tuesday we launched to the world this device, this technology. There is camera, but and 360 camera even can be mounted on top of it. In the launch, we didn't have it mainly because of design reasons. So there were a lot of things that in reality, when you go to the streets, actually you have to add some safety bumpers, mechanical bumpers around the machine at the moment. But what we wanted to really present is a product that the way we see this is where this is going. So we wanted to, take out everything else. We just wanted to show you that this is possible, this can be done. And then this is basically, one of the big questions is when we set up the event, we saw a lot of people coming around the machine, of course, all the time with their beer cans and thinking about, can I throw at it? Does it eat it?
Right.
When it's a device looking like this, a sweeper looking like this, you will get a lot of questions like that coming. And sure. Do I have all the answers now? Honestly speaking, no. But that's what we are looking at in the coming year during the Trombia 3 pilot program.
Sure. Well, let's talk about performance. One of the things that I've always been frustrated by, especially in the cold weather countries like Finland, and I'm speaking of the northern tier states of America, but it's something I know is going to be huge there, is that because of the spring cleanup problem, you have so much material. Sometimes it takes wheel loaders to, you know, get
Start
the
with a bucket.
material and put it into dump trucks and all. So these municipalities and others purchase broom sweepers, and some of the broom sweepers are known to actually create more PM10 material, PM 2.5 material. And for those reader or listeners who don't know, our hair is about 50 to 60 microns wide. And so for a PM 250 even, we're talking 5 times, let's say, the width of our hair. And even though about maybe 10% of the material on an average road is composed of material that's 5 times the width of our hair or smaller, that can have up to 60% of the pollutant load in that small fraction of material. So some broom sweepers will break up bigger particles, make them smaller particles, toss them into the air, make it in the dust cloud, or leave them on the ground. And then that material is more available to the next windstorm, to the next water rainfall event, to run off and create pollution to bounce up in the air and stay there. And we figure in the United States there's 100,000 unneeded deaths a year from air pollution. So when they buy these mechanical sweepers for the spring cleanup, then they, because they're so expensive, they continue to use them throughout the year. And so you don't get the pickup that you need. So is that that's sort of a holy grail, really, is a way to use a sweeper that can do heavy duty cleanup and as well as handle the small micro material. So that's, my question is buried in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's basically what we are all about. So the whole, I haven't seen the type of gritting sand piles in North America. I spent a lot of time the last couple of years there. So because we consider that North America will be the key market, in particular for the attachment product of our portfolio. So we haven't seen that kind of sand piles what we see here in every single street every spring. So we have a 3 to 5 centimeters, which is basically 1 inch to 1.5 inch thick mattresses of gritting sand on the streets after the winter gets warm, and when the snow melts, all that will start grinding under the tires of the cars, and that will create that dust problem. So for the Finland, Sweden, and Norway, which are very focused on not using too much salt, it's all about the sand. This is a real thing, and then that's why in these countries you've developed what we call a high-end sweeper attachment for mechanical pickup as well. So it's really different level of sweeper attachment or a pickup broom compared to what you see in Central Europe, for example. It's really meant to be heavy duty, picking up as much as you can, as fast as you can, mechanically. And then you develop dust control methods around that. And now then Trombia was all about, okay, well, we have to do the mechanical pickup still. So our cities will not buy a sweeper without being very powerful in heavy duty applications as well. So that was the first thing. So Trombia has a full width, high power broom inside. But then the air is really the method of getting those fines as well. And just referring back to the previous topic about the wood being waterless, yeah. So that's the key of the whole technology as well. We don't use water on that surface what we clean. That is the crucial part. So when we say that 95% water saving, that's 100% accurate. Basically, we use a little bit water through which we help the cyclone in these kind of extreme conditions, such as the spring cleanup in Finland. So that's where we use a little bit water inside as a hopper humidifier, so to say.
Okay. And let's talk about, the machine does a good job now. The hopper's full, then what?
Yeah. So there are a couple of, I think the autonomous world will be trickier in terms of this, that we see that cities have a range of logistics for disposal methods, and there will be the dump trucks, which obviously with this autonomous model is a little bit trickier, and we do understand that, and that's why we are going to go with a couple of those pilot customers during the next year's program, are exactly this type of customers that we try to solve with them, how this dump truck can be replaced in a smart way for them. Up here in the Nordics, we have demountable skips, which are basically laying on the street, and then you all you need to do is to get the autonomous sweeper on top of it and dump it like we do with the wheel loader attachment. So that's for what we already have a solution, and it's actually illustrated on the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we are developing another solution which is a little bit illustrated on the website, but there will be so much patents going on with that one that I can't tell too much about it yet. So, okay. But it's a little bit, the basic idea is basically a autonomous cassette system, which would give these units even more autonomy in the future. And we illustrate the basic idea of it, but the big ideas are still hidden from the world.
Well, I know that. So you're talking about a cassette system where maybe a full one pops out pops in. And I saw that technology when I was in Europe with some of their smaller sweepers, and that certainly worked fine for those. I mean, it was built as a plus. So. What other things should we know about this? I mean, we haven't talked about how long the sweeper will run, and does it come back to its base when it still has plenty of power? People will want to know that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, basically, electric sweepers they need to be charged always. I think the big story behind all this is anyway basically the power consumption, because that's. If you put that to square meters or square yards, or that how much square miles, how much you can cover with one charge, that's the difference to anything out there in the market. It's just huge, and that's we are quite open about it, that we've really got something there. But in the end of the day, the machine will always come to its start. Or we talk about tasks. So when you complete your sweeping task, you'll return to the starting point, which typically would be next to the charger station.
Sure.
But at the same time, we more of in the future we'll see that the operator will take the unit to the next location for the next task, which has been recorded in the memory, and then they'll just keep going as a feed for 8 to 9 hours. Battery capacity durability basically is 8 to 9 hours continuous high power sweeping. So it's really that we calculate the time that your brooms are spinning instead of
impressive.
Yeah, so it's the only way, in our opinion, that you should announce this type of battery durability, because we see with electric sweepers in general quite a range of it, and then we know that what the customers think about those figures, and we wanted to be more open about that. When you go full highest power with this unit, you'll probably, with the single battery package, you'll be at 4 hours, and you'll have to charge or replace a new set of batteries. If you get a double package, you'll be 8 hours shift, and that's what we kind of try to say, that but these hours are full broom spinning hours. So, and the suction fan or the air knife fan spinning hours. So
everything working.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to recharge?
Right now, through the regular mains plugs, it takes 15 hours with this current model that we introduced. With high power plugs, it's 5 hours. So it's supercharger options are all these kind of things that we know that the industry itself is developing fast, and it's not really this type of things we thought that we don't need to solve everything at once. The industry of the electric vehicles is solving a lot of them for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly exciting technology. What are questions that you wish I had asked that you'd like to get out there to the market and for the North American market to understand?
I don't know. I think the main question that we keep getting from these media interviews typically is about how and when can we get one, and then of course we touched the base on that in the launch show, which is quite a revealing one. We tell pretty much everything that we can at this moment, but I think for North America the same thing applies that as all the other markets where I've had the interview early morning this morning to Asia, so it's kind of I'm going the whole clock now, and I think the same answer to everywhere is that the autonomous sweeper, we don't think that it's going to be it's not for everyone at this moment. So it's really the smart city projects, it's the smart port projects that, for example, the Port of Los Angeles, if we look at things from your direction, is that they have that ambition level at the moment there where you have to be with a product like this. So that not all the cities and municipalities are ready for anything like this, because they are just getting familiar with getting their first sweeper trucks, for example. So it's really, we know that we are aiming for certain segments first, and take it from there. The radio control unit itself is actually, it's a very powerful product already now, even this product that was introduced, which in the end of in a sense is still the first marketing product, first one to be brought. Obviously we'll be going through quite a massive pilot program around the world next year, so it's kind of so it's a very powerful product, but we, with the autonomous features, which is the scary part of it, and probably a slow part of it in terms of market entry, we still have that radio control unit all the time, which there's been already a lot of requests during this week that can we just start using it, because the hopper capacity is strong, is still 2.5 cubic yards. It's quite a decent machine itself. It's not a kind of a toy sweeper like normally the autonomous sweepers are.
Well, there's bound to be somebody who will make a toy of it, though. It's such a cool machine that I want one. I know that. I think you've redesigned the Roomba while you're at it here. Your design team is clearly very avant-garde, and that part of it's impressive too. The whole thing is just extremely impressive, and I applaud all aspects of this. To me, we've been looking for the holy grail is to me is electric or not diesel and so forth, and natural gas is not really it either. I mean, electric is the goal. I guess there might be other technologies out there in the future, but certainly not there now. And then not to use water, that's clearly not the best dust suppression. Plus, water is why I got into this business 33 years ago. I was attracted when I first did the first magazine for sweeping, American Sweeper Magazine. The goal of starting that magazine was to teach municipal types that they weren't sweeping up horse poop coming from horses and buggies anymore. It was clutch plate dust and brake linings and that sort of thing. So, and you've combined mechanical with air, and that to me is also a really part of the holy grail situation. So you've covered all the bases here. I couldn't be more excited about the future for you, and I know you'll let us know whenever you have the first machine placed in America and it's ready to have an interview here.
Yeah, it's still a little bit unclear whether we will actually have one of those. We announced the Trombia free pilot program, which is a more of a global program rather than the current customers we have here in the Nordic Europe. So we are not certain yet whether one of those pilots or two of them will be in North America, or right now, honestly speaking, we are more aiming towards the Asian markets with the autonomous one. But certain special applications where we see very nice fit in North America might become a topical of 2021 then. So for us, and yeah, then 22 we aim to be in the series manufacturing with the units. So it's basically soon, and that's when all our markets will be on board, or hopefully, and at that moment.
Well, I sure encourage you to come into the North American market with one of your pilots. As an example, at the end of last year, we covered a study from the University of Florida that shows through, you've read the 14 municipalities and how much better sweeping is than the next best technology of storm water. But what we've seen out of that is people in other states saying, well, that was Florida. That's not going to be the same as, Michigan, Iowa, Washington, fill in the blanks. So I know that for the North American market, it'll be important to have a machine here that, somebody can talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll, so of course, link all of your video and launch material along with this. And is there anything else that you wish I'd asked a question about that?
I guess we always hope that people ask us that how can they get started with Trombia sweeping tomorrow, and that's basically the answer is the attachment, which we have. We got a dealer in US in the New York Think Equipment, and we do have the dealers in Canada on the Canadian side. So, and we are rolling out with the other states as soon as this current situation is clearing up a little bit in terms of traveling, because when we open dealerships, we want to be very close to them, and we need to get that kind of things sorted. So we need to be able to travel again to really open new dealerships. So
that's for sure. And so the point of that is if you're impressed by the Trombia technology in terms of machine pickup and capabilities, that is available to you right now.
That is, and that's been the feedback, that there's a wow factor for people who come to see Trombia sweeper attachment the first time. The performance is exactly the same with the loader attachment and the Trombia free autonomous sweeper now. So the only difference is the other one is a little bit more agile, the other one is a little bit faster. So if you have to go longer distance with the wheel loader, you dare to go faster than you dare to let a robot go in the streets. So that's basically the only difference with those is the agility and the speed, and the other one is more agile, the other one is faster. So the rest of that, it's people have been very impressed in North America, but the feedback from the market has been very strong for Trombia technology, and we are very happy to continue that aggressively now, as again when the next spring comes, and hopefully the world situation clears up a little bit.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much for taking the time with us. And my guess is your weekend may get to start now, since we're doing this on a Friday in America.
Yeah, that's my plan. We do have a little bit of a follow-up still to do actually today. Still, it's been quite a 3 days. I have to say that people who don't follow sweeping industry have suddenly get in touch with sweeping industry and getting in touch with us. So we talk a lot about environmentally focused people working in the politics and such, and everyone is getting in touch with us because of the message that we try to send through regarding the existing technologies. And yeah, people are really eager to know more. So I do have a couple of follow-ups still coming tonight, and then I'll head back home and see my wife first time this week.
All right. Well, thanks again so much, Antti. And I know you'll keep us posted.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
All right.
Good day. Thanks.